TIAA is on a mission. Why? Because 54% of Black Americans don't have enough savings to retire. So in collaboration with big-name artists like Wyclef Jean, TIAA released Paper Right, new music inspiring a new financial future. With 100% of streaming sales going to a nonprofit that teaches students how to invest. Stream Paper Right now and help close the gap.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Sesh. Today, I got a very busy man in the house.
What's going on, man?
Talk to us, man. Tell everybody about what you do.
Well, my name is William Esquivel. I've been a regional manager for Gold Financial Services for over 14 years. Basically, in a nutshell, I'm a mortgage lender. I lend money. That's all I do.
Okay, so I'm fascinated by that because right now, for the past few years, I've been thinking about investments and all this stuff. I've been diving deep into Bitcoin. Lower that a little so it doesn't cover your beautiful face, man.
I appreciate that, man.
But what I'm super interested in is the housing market because it's always fluctuating, and I hear bad things about it, hear good things about it. So I want to pick your brain on where the market is right now. I'm super interested in the industry. So can you give me some insight that you've seen along these past since COVID?
Do you want me to say it in a politically correct way, or just what it is?
Just what it is, because
it's a shit show.
Okay, so dive into that.
Okay, so basically what is occurring, and this is my opinion, but keep in mind that I've gone through three changes in the market since 19.
Would these be considered cycles?
Yeah, which is cycles since 1997. Okay, so I've seen three of them. And I can tell you right now that what we're going through right now versus the rest of the three cycles is its own individual animal. And the reason why I say that is because on the other three cycles that we had, there was a beginning and everybody saw it was coming, and there was an end. And then it was basically reset and we're rolling again. All right. Take that into consideration. Now you got a perfect storm over here, which is now that the market is trying to reset itself and it won't allow it to. Okay. And so you're going truly, honestly, like a roller coaster, going up and down, up and down, up and down, and you're done throwing up, on top of Universal Studios, and you need to stop. Ain't helping. You're going again.
So why hasn't it reset?
There is so many, and that's the other. There's so many factors that's involved with this that it's not allowing you to reset. You've seen the Federal Reserve trying to increase the Fed fund rate, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times in a year, which has never happened since it started. And that's not happening. On top of that, you have, in my opinion, fake unemployment numbers that are coming out. On top of inflation, that's not happening. Well, guess what? Then 3 years ago, because of COVID, you know what I mean? Now you had...
They printed a ton of money.
All the factors aren't talking to each other. They're going in its own separate... in their own separate ways, and literally, they cannot come to a standing point where you can restart again. It's not happening.
So what does that mean for like the regular person?
For the regular person, basically what that means is either let me explain it to you this way. You have those people that have to buy a house. And that's a given. It doesn't matter if the rate's high, it doesn't matter what the cost of it is, whatever it is. They have to buy a house, you're going to buy a house. And everybody says that. You know what I mean? That's true because
there's always buyers.
There's always buyers. Especially in our market, our market and our culture, it's always payment driven. It's never rate driven. It's always payment driven. Okay. As long as you get me to a house under $1,200, I'm good. I don't care about the rate. Okay, you're going to have those buyers, right? But then you're going to have those more savvy type of buyers say, you know what, I want to buy, but I don't have to. Let me just wait to see what's going on. Yeah. But there's also a double-edged sword on that. Well, I'm going to wait till the rates drop, but guess what's going to happen? Prices are going to go up in order to what? Offset the market and adjust the market. So we're basically, like I said before, in a perfect storm where shit, we don't know what the hell's going to happen. I honestly thought that everything was going to reset probably by June, probably by August or September of this year. It hasn't. And so the next thing was, okay, it's gonna reset fourth quarter. It ain't happening.
Yeah.
We're anticipating that it's probably going to happen maybe end of first quarter, beginning of second quarter. And then that's when that's when you're going to see some, the rope off of our neck saying, okay, you can breathe now.
Yeah.
But guess what's now basically forcing those changes is what's happening with the new election coming up in 2024.
Yeah.
It's a huge deal. It really is. And so what's happening, and let me tell you what realistically is happening, is that you have everybody. We as financial institutions, and my colleagues as well, and my competitors, you know what I mean? We can sell rate. You're okay with getting a rate of 7.5, or whatever it is. I bought my first house when I was 30. You know what I mean? And my rate was 7.75. It was great.
Yeah.
So where we're at right now is what reality should be. The twos and the ones, that was a facade. That should have never happened, but it did. You know what I mean? The problem is, like I said before, that's not the problem. The problem is the cost. There's a cost for everything right now in regards to whatever the interest rate is right now. I'm not sure if people have heard about the concept of buying down a rate.
No, explain that.
Okay, so basically what happens is that when a customer comes in and says, hey, I want to get a mortgage loan, right? Well, the rate's going to be at 7.5, and that's basically par. Par meaning zero. There's no cost to it. That's the norm. And usually at a par rate, the cost is the rate's a little bit higher, but you still have a zero cost, and that's okay, right? Now, whether you're coming in at a bank or a mortgage company, there's a cost affiliated with that rate, period, just to start off at.
Wow.
Whether you have a 700 credit score, whether you have a 580 credit score, you're going to get a cost.
Why is that?
What's happening right now is that there's so much volatility in the market, especially right now between third and fourth quarter, that the secondary market, which is all the investors buying all these mortgage-backed securities, basically what it means is that us, as the retail aspect of it, we bundle up all these mortgages, $2, $3, $4 million worth of mortgages, and we sell them on the secondary market. So you have all these big investors, Goldman Sachs, you know what I mean, all these guys and all these hedge funds saying, you know what, we're going to keep these mortgage-backed securities, these pools. And we're not going to trade them. We're just going to keep them. So guess what that means? They have too much of it. So guess what? You know what? You can lend, but we're going to charge you.
Interesting.
And you know what? And it starts from the top all the way down the bottom. At the end of the ball game, the person that suffers is the consumer.
Right.
Because as much as we would want to, hey, I wish I could give that to you. I can't.
Yeah.
This is what they're giving me to sell. And this is what's being offered on the market. That's it.
So is the opportunity of buying a home and having that biggest investment in your life, is that still a reality?
Absolutely. Home ownership right now is always a reality. But how much are you going to pay for it?
Right.
That's the kicker. You know what I mean? That's the big kicker. The guidelines are the same. You know what I mean? The guidelines are the same. If you have, 580, 600, whatever it is, all that's the same. It's the cost of obtaining that mortgage.
Right.
That's what it comes down to.
And the interest rates dictate a lot of that.
The interest rates dictate the majority of it. The interest rates dictate the majority of it in regards to reality and what the media feeds the community.
So the difference between a 2% interest hike is what? Like in reality, like what does that dictate, like as far as money? Say I got a $10,000 now, I got a 2% versus 4% versus 6% versus a 7%.
You're looking probably about $250, $300 on a payment.
Wow. And that's substantial for a person that is trying just to make it by.
It is. And let me tell you what actually was happening in the beginning when all this started. Okay? So in the beginning of the year, right? In the beginning of the year is when all the interest rates started increasing. And I'm not talking, and the thing is this, as the American public, we knew rates were going to go up.
Right.
The problem was that it went up that fast. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't have gone that fast. It should have been, in cycles. You know what? In January or February, it was at 6%. By March or April, 6.5%, 6.25%, and that was going to be and that was going to be sustainable for 3 to 4 months. It literally went up from 6 to 7 in a matter of weeks.
Why did it go up that much?
The investor, me personally, the investors did it on purpose. They're like, you're gonna, you know what? If the government's not gonna slow down the economy, or you know what I mean, or get the economy in place, we're gonna do it for you. Boom, take it from there. So what occurred was that, and this is what was happening throughout the market. Customer came in last year, January of last year, 2022. Rates were at 4s, 3s. Okay, so I got you approved for $200,000 at a 4% interest rate. Your monthly payment is going to be $1,600. You're good. You're fine. Well, guess what? At that time, there was no inventory. So in order to find that house, that perfect house, you know what I mean, that American dream, well, now you got to wait because there's nothing there. Or when they put in an offer, it got beat. Now people were offering a house that was selling for $200,000. They put in a bid for $220,000 and they got it, $20,000 over market. Right. You don't think that's going to affect us in about a year? Yeah. Well, it's going to hit. Mm-hmm. It's going to hit. Anyways, so you take that same customer at $1,600 a monthly payment, that what they have budgeted already. Now they come to me in January of 2023. Hey, Will, we finally found the house. All right, cool. Well, what's my payment now? $1,975. Whoa, what do you mean? So here comes the, how are you screwing me now? Because guess what? And it is what it is. The real estate community is basically, how are you going to screw me? Right. Not screwing you, bro. It's basically the rates came up from 4 to 6.5. That much of a difference? That much of a difference. Well, guess what? 85% of the houses in America, the decision is made by who? The female. Mm-hmm. The wife, the mother, whatever it is. So you got Julano de Tal that calls me, well, we found the house for my family. Let's go. What's going on? I give them the rate of 6 and I give them the new monthly payment. Boom. I'll call you later. That evening, mom, wife gets out of work. She will send me the numbers. Yes, ma'am. Can you send me the numbers that I did last year? Yes, ma'am. Send them out. And then they're like, oh, shit, we need to wait. So what happened there was that there was no help from the media either. Media was like, oh my gosh, whatever it is. Yeah. But the media didn't say what occurred, what the reasonings for it. They just said rates are bad, which right. I get it. Compared to what though? They didn't give a true comparison of what truly it is and what was happening. Yeah. And so when they came over to us, and we tried to explain it to them, well, we're going to wait. So guess what? You scare everybody. Fear. So you're fearing of buying. Guess what? The market is stagnant at that point. So you got stagnicity for what? Rate increase, inventory. It's a whole shit show. Huh. So guess what? Things aren't moving. So what does that affect? So that affects the originators, because the majority of everybody in real estate are what? Commission based, paid, right? So you got realtors and brokers that aren't selling. They ain't getting paid. You got mortgage bankers or mortgage brokers aren't getting paid or getting paid minimum. Guess what? Here comes the unemployment, or now I got to find something else to do because you can't support your family with closing one deal every 2 months. Right. It ain't happening, and that's what's happening right now. Yeah, I heard. So it's the trickling effect now. It's already happening. Wow. It's already. Let me put it to this way, that you're going to have a lot of the realtors, especially here in the Rio Grande Valley, that aren't continuing just because they can't even afford their dues. Wow. That's just the reality of it. Yeah. And on a year, I think on a yearly basis, I think their dues like $800-900. Wow. So it's quite a bit. Yeah, yeah. You know what I mean? So if they can't even do it, they're like, well, I can't. I'm gonna either what? I'm gonna have $900 to pay for my family's food, or I'm gonna do it because I'm gonna pay my dues. And maybe I'll close the deal. Wow, that's interesting, because I heard a statistic the other day, actually yesterday, I think, that on average a realtor makes about $33,000 a year, which is way below anything else, and it's crazy because they have so much that they have to invest in. Man, I'm going to tell you one thing. I saw that also. I saw that article.
Is that correct?
Well, then what are you doing? Seriously, I mean,
well, let me ask you this. So I heard that there's 1,800 realtors in the Rio Grande Valley.
There's 1,800 realtors in the Rio Grande Valley.
How many houses are for sale in the Rio Grande Valley?
Not 1,800.
So how did so many realtors get pulled into like the facade of like, hey, I want to become a realtor?
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Is it the money?
You're talking about, thank you, Netflix, selling Sunset, baby. So they
sold the dream.
They sold the dream of how to become a realtor. This is what I do, and you're talking about $1.5 million listing property. The potential commission is, $120,000, and then everybody's just on a bandwagon. Let's go! Oh, everybody can do that. What are they doing? They're at mixers, they're at nightclubs, they're at bars selling, and which is reality to an extent, but you're comparing Apple. You're not comparing apples to apples here.
Right.
So you get all these young bucks, you know what I mean? 20, 23, 24, 25 saying, I can do this. Mm-hmm. Because why? Because they saw what occurred in 21 and 22, where you didn't have to work. People were basically, hey, I'm listing my property, I'm selling my property, I'm buying a property and everything else, and calls were just coming in, bam, 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 coming in. You didn't have to work. You could have got a monkey to input information, and you were going to get paid.
Wow.
So what happened after that? The whole market slowed down. Now you got to work. Now here comes
2 years.
In 2 years.
So COVID raped everything. Then everything went amazingly
and then
great.
Stopped again.
Wow.
And those people that were in it because they thought that was reality, they got another reality check saying that's not what it is, buddy. Wow. Now you got to work. So you had these people, let me give you an example. You had these loan officers or loan originators that were in the business for 2 years. Well, they had so much production because of the influx of what was happening. So they got an assistant to help them push the paper so they can do whatever they want to do. Then then the market slowed down. Now you're at what reality is, which is the 10-year loan officers that have been doing it for 10, 15, 20 years. They're like, okay, now we're going to see if we're going to be able to survive. Picking up the phone, actually working, knowing your guidelines, knowing this, where these people that were barely new in the business were depending on somebody else. So now they're like saying, oh shit, what do I do?
Wow.
Because they're not used to that. They're not used to picking up the phone, face-to-face, handshakes. Everything is through text, email, whatever it is, portal, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. If you interview 10 originators, brand new originators, and 10 real estate agents, and if you tell them you got to go make 25 face-to-faces and handshakes, they wouldn't even know where to start.
Wow. That's because they're in sales.
Yeah.
That is
sales.
Wow.
So they had a facade of what sales was. Well, you compare yourself to sales with somebody that's been doing it for 25 years. Oh, we'll kill you out of the water.
Right.
It is what it is.
Huh. That's interesting. I never heard it from that perspective.
Yeah.
Wow. So what do you see the market trends coming up for the next, so if it happens in 2 years, what do you see in 2024, 2025, 2026?
2024 is going to be very transitional. And the reason why it's going to be very transitional is because one of the main things that's going to affect it is, like I said before, the election. So I'm thinking that in 2024, in the beginning, it's still going to be the same. From here on out to the beginning of 2024, it's going to be hell. It really is. That's what I'm thinking. After second quarter, going to third quarter, it's probably going to loosen up a little bit, but it's not going to be as loose as everybody thinks it is. At the end of 2024, going to 2025, that's where it's going to basically chill out, and you're going to see rates dropping, costs dropping, and everything else. Come 2025, end of 2025 to end of 2025. Beginning of 2026 is you're going to get a huge refinance boom. So if you're in real estate and if you're an originator, if you can hold off till then, you're gonna kill it.
So let's talk about how they hold off. How can they hold off? As an originator, who is below them? What do they need to cut? What do they need to do to be able to survive the storm?
Well, this is what's happening is that, and not just us, but the majority of the industry, even banks. I mean, hell, PNC Bank, which is the fourth largest bank in the United States, just cut off 70% of their mortgage departments.
Wow.
Okay, Wells Fargo got out of the mortgage lending completely. You know what I mean? So if the bigger banks and the investors are doing it, well, it just trickles down as well. So what we've done is our main thing at Gold Financial is not to let go of people because of their families. That's our main concern first, is our people. Whether you're an originator, whether you're an admin, or so what. We've done a very good job of not letting people go probably till last month. And so what we take a look at is, are certain positions necessary? Number one, can that position be combined to two activities? And so we've done a real good job at that. And what we're doing now is we're reducing certain costs in regards to marketing, in regards to credit reporting, et cetera. And so that we've been able to sustain and bring down the cost in order to benefit, so we could avoid any layoffs.
Yeah. So what are the skills that you think that the industry needs specifically? That way, when they look at, say, maybe this position isn't going to be here anymore, what are the skills that you look for?
Most importantly, I'm looking for a person that is not scared to talk to people. That skill set, which is to us should be normal, is not normal anymore.
When you say normal, what do you mean? Like, so out of 10 people, how many do you think would be normal, like that should go out and shake hands?
4.
Okay.
No more than that.
Wow.
Sad. It really is. Wow. It's sad. And it starts from the beginning, man. It starts from the beginning where you have kids nowadays, they're too busy. And I'm talking about, I would say between the ages of 4 and 7, that when you go up there and say, hey, go say hi to your tío, they're on their phone, oh, hi, and that's it. Yeah. That the emphasis of stopping, looking in your eyes, how are you doing, shaking your hand, a hug or whatever it is, that's gone, man.
Wow.
And if you go back to those basics, and that's the thing, is that some of the parents nowadays and some of the people that are barely getting to the workforce, they don't think that's important. It's extremely important. They just don't put any attention to it. And so if you take that, because remember, that stuff is learned. Yeah. So you take that as a kid, teenager, high school, go to college, blah, blah, blah. Because keep in mind that now you have these high school kids that are getting college credit now. So they're going into college as a sophomore or junior, graduating with college from, at 20 years old, graduating. And I get that. Awesome. Yeah. Congratulations to you. But you're not teaching them the basics of human interaction and the basics of, hey, what's up? Yeah.
And I would even go as far as to say that you're not really considered an adult, at least until you're 28, 30. Because you don't have no fucking life experience.
Well, that's the problem, bro. Think about it this way. When we're younger, mom says, hey, I don't have any money for you. Get the hell out at 18. I was already had my full-time job at 18, doing this, figuring this stuff out. And when I truly needed money, my mom would send me $150. Hey, this is all I have. Mm-hmm. You don't have that anymore. So guess what? We learned all that stuff. And I get it. Everything's generational, and I understand that. Yeah. But the thing is that us as parents, we need to teach our kids and people that are in business and everything else, need to teach your kids your basics, because guess what? When you talk to, or when you have a supervisor that's trying to help you out, to say, hey, you need to talk to people. You need to shake people's arm. Hey, look at me. Yeah. They're like, what do you mean? And then guess what? Now Will's an asshole. Now he's mean to me. I'm not mean to you, man. I'm just giving you the basics, because when you go out there and you talk to XYZ broker that's been there for 45 years, now he's teaching his people the same thing. You're going to get killed. You're going to get killed. And guess what? I can't sell anything. I got to get out and I got to go do something else. Wow. And that's just the truth of it.
So one of the things is relationships in the business. Relationships
relationships is everything, man. I honestly do think so, is that relationships will be able to take you out either good news or bad news. It really is, because it all depends on your track record. And if you don't cultivate that relationship aspect of it, you're going to be in trouble in this business. A lot of people truly think now is that this business is they're trying to take it to a transactional type of business, and that's not the way you're going to succeed, because you're as good as your last transaction. And that's where I have a problem with certain people. Like, there's real estate agents now in the Valley. During a transaction, they're representing a buyer or a seller that won't call you. They want to do everything through text. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah.
How are you going to truly give it all you got and represent your seller or buyer, or doing a loan for probably the biggest investment of their life, and you're going to do it through text? I can name you off the bat, which I'm not, 7 realtors exactly like that.
Wow.
Just text me. Let me text you. But you go to the bar, they're right there. Hey, what's up? Dude, come on.
Yeah.
And I have no problem calling them out. I'm like, dude, you're full of shit.
Yeah.
Seriously. Like, pick up the phone, because this is extremely important.
What is it about that insight that they won't take? Is it the pride? Is it the culture? What is it about that they don't hear your experience and say, this is going to work? Why don't they listen? Because
they use words and they try to protect themselves through words. Well, you said this. Yeah, but you know what? Let me give you an example. Have you ever argued with your wife through text?
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
All right. Have you ever argued with your wife in person?
Yeah.
Which one works better?
Oh, arguing in person.
Very good. Very good. Because
sure.
You know what? Because literally,
you get lost in translation.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm saying, I can either say absolutely not with an explanation point, right? Mm-hmm. Or absolutely not, explanation, whatever it is, or absolutely not, period.
Yeah.
All those 3 things mean something different.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
That's the same thing with social media.
Hell, again, you know what, dude? You know what? Social media is great. You can work against you, work for you, and everything else. I've had my times it's worked against me, and I take ownership of it. But you can't do business like that, man.
Yeah.
And that's the part where some of this younger generation they just don't get it.
Yeah, if people are giving you a large chunk of their money, you should probably meet them in person.
You don't
shake
think so?
their hands and give them a call.
And I get it. There's going to be certain things. Hey, I've never met this customer. I've never met this bar, this client, everything else. Or we closed it, blah, blah, blah.
Those
Great.
are one in every now and then.
But, I mean, at least, man, Zoom or something to where I can see your face to face and everything else.
Yeah.
You know?
Interesting. That's interesting.
It's the reality of it.
So let's talk about the technology going on now. So with the advent of like ChatGPT, I love ChatGPT. I use it at least 2 hours a day for research purposes. And I don't think people understand. I actually use it for 2 hours a fucking day. And I just research it. Now you're able to create GPTs, which is specialized information for it. And I built one for the Rio Grande Valley real estate market just to teach me about, because I want to learn certain things about the Rio Grande Valley, because the Rio Grande Valley is a fascinating place, and I find it's only growing. And the ones that already have their hands in the ground, their feet in the ground, are going to grow with it.
Absolutely. I agree with 100%.
So what do you feel like the technology that your industry should be using, is using, and what other people, realtors, should be using as well?
That's a great question, and I'm gonna be upfront with you. Is that I am adapting to it. My organization is adapting to it as well, but it's kind of scary also. And the reason why it's scary, because it's going to replace a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that it's going to replace a lot of stuff faster than what people think.
Well, you're right, because I saw a statistic yesterday about Facebook. They got rid of 21,000 employees from 2022 to now, and they replaced it with AI.
Yeah.
LinkedIn is doing the same thing. They got rid of 700 people. That means, which you can always see it in two different ways, right? So they're replacing it with AI. Now the valuation goes up because they don't have to spend so much money.
And we're doing the same thing. So basically, what we're right now, we're integrating AI in the mortgage process. And we're talking about AI in the beginning, the middle, and underwriting.
Wow.
There are certain things that the borrowers are going to be able to upload to the portal or whatever it is, so-called, and it's going to automatically read it, approve, not approve, take this out, whatever it is.
Wow.
That's already in place. So it's gonna speed up the processes. You know what I mean? But it's going to also give us no room for error.
Right.
But it's going to catch it from the beginning. Yeah. So basically,
human error is expensive.
Human error is 100%. Human error, the majority of it comes down to laziness, and the reason for that is because people don't look at the stuff. And I'll just be upfront with you, originators or whatever it is, they don't look at it. Well, you're going to have this mechanism now. I'm like, got it. So what's going to happen? Well, you need to replace this with this. I don't have it. Deal's dead. For example.
Yeah.
Versus waiting till the last minute. Oh, the deal's not happening. Well, why? What are you talking about?
Right.
Tell you right
It's
now.
faster, cheaper.
It is.
Yeah, I always say that it's not AI that's going to take the jobs of everybody. It's the people that know how to use the AI that are going to take the jobs.
Very good. I agree with 100%, bro.
It's a scary thing, but it also goes to show you that if LinkedIn can work, and it's over $100 million business, if they can work with a small skeleton team, like that opens up the door for
everybody. Well, think about it this way: you got McDonald's on the West Coast that there's no people in it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
If McDonald's can do it, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen in the real estate industry.
Yeah, I remember when people were talking about that. It's like robots are going to be making your burgers, and fast forward 5 years later,
it's already happening, bro.
It is here. It's the scariest thing in the world, man. So, what skills do you think that people are going to need within the next 5 years? Specific to your industry.
Specific to my industry. I don't think the sales to sales is going to be replaced, especially with doing purchases this way, because a lot of times it has to do, like I said before, relationships, and it has to do with those looking at a person face to face, like, man, everything looks right, but there's something up. That gut feeling that everybody says don't ignore it, but you do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It gets you in trouble. That's never going to go away. The red tape of documentation, you'll be fine. That we're going to need that. We're going to need the AI information for that. Mm-hmm. But I still believe that you're not going to be able to replace that human interaction, and that we're going to have to be 10 times better at it, because now I'm going to get a computer to replace you.
Right.
Very simple.
Yeah. And interesting. It's an interesting time that we're living in. I never thought that AI would be taking over as much as it has in such a short time. Like I figured like maybe 10, 20 years. I mean, think about flying cars. How long have they been telling us about flying cars? And
since the Jetsons, bro.
Yeah. But AI came around and boom, it's taken everything.
Mira, I had a buddy of mine. He's a broker here in the Valley, and he's the president of the Greater McAllen Associate Realtors, Juan de la Garza, right? He was like, hey, check this out, bro. This is when the first time that Chat GBT or whatever you want to come. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? He goes, go financial services, mortgage lending, la 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 la. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
He goes, downloading. Okay, whatever. Right, so I went home, started looking. I'm like, what? So and then I had my kids that night, right? So Will's a brain. I'm like, Dad. I go, hey man, what's this? He goes, we've been using it for months. I'm like, what are you talking about? My son's, at that time, he was 13, right? Yeah. He's 15 now. Oh, no, he was 14. He's 16 now. And he's like, yeah, Dad, I've been using it for years. I go, what do you use it for? Well, I'm not going to tell you. I mean, what am I going to tell me? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's so funny because probably 2 months later, like I'm a big South Park fan, I still am, and it was that episode where they started the Chat GPT.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was like, oh my gosh. Well, yeah, it's here.
Yeah, man, it's interesting because I remember I started using it last year, early in the year, and I was messing with it for at least 3 hours a day just to learn it in the beginning, right? And I was getting dopamine hits. I have never been hit with dopamine hits ever. Like, you know, when you're doing something great and you get some good feedback. I never got dopamine hits, but I remember putting something in and it gave me the answer instantly, and I got hit with a dopamine hit. I was like, what the fuck is that? And then it did it again, like maybe 2 weeks later, and I got another dopamine. I was like, oh shit. It's because the speed of the information that comes.
That is crazy.
You don't have to come to Google anymore. You don't have to type it. It's like, now it tells you exactly what you want. Like, that's the difference.
It's scary.
That's scary.
It really is.
And it's a crazy thing. Well, it's a tool. I mean, I use it as a tool because, especially as a research tool, like it's like having an expert. Like it's getting all your. So let me explain what the GPTs are now. So if I were to download all the information from your head over the past 20 years that you've been in the business, I upload it into this GPT. Now I have a digital image of Will in the cyberspace that has all this information that I can call upon it in a second. So what's going on in the industry at this point? What were your thoughts at this point? How do I navigate this? Like, you can train these GPTs now. That's the scary part.
That's the scary thing about it.
Yeah. So I've created a Bitcoin GPT to teach me all about Bitcoin since the beginning. The great thing about it is you can upload it with PDFs, so you can teach it. So you teach it exactly the information that you want to know, and has to be all factual. That way, it doesn't hallucinate, is what it's called.
Yeah.
So you teach it, it's trainable, and you put all this information in. Now it's just teaching you. Plus, it's connected to the fucking internet.
That's freaking crazy, man.
Dude, I am mind boggled at this, dude.
I mean, this is the deal, man. Is that I get what you're saying. It's just like when we're kids, man. When we're kids, I mean, I was born in 76. You know, I'm a 47, right? Well, guess what? If I wanted to go, hang out with a girl, you know what I mean? And, make out with her or whatever it is. I had to literally go to her house and, hey, how you doing? And Now everything's like, all right, let me see how to kiss. I'm like, are you like, I'm serious.
There's a guide for everything.
Dude, my son, man, one time my son's like, well, Dad, just go up to her, say hi and tell her how nice her hair is. Literally, how do I talk to her? I'm like, hey, put it away. It's crazy. I'm just like, oh man.
Yeah, it's. I think the meme is that our ancestors would be pissed off because we always put the GPS in every single day that we've been to the same place 100 times. We still put in the damn GPS to go to the same place.
That's scary, dude. You know what? You're gonna get in trouble for that. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, for real.
That's what's gonna happen, man.
So I've seen that you've been pushing out a little bit more content with your face and your branding and stuff like that. So I'm interested why you decided to go that route.
I'm going to tell you two reasons why. Number one, as a tenured loan officer or a tenured professional in this business, there's a lot of information out there that I think should be given out to help our colleagues to say so they can understand what's going on versus Will's been in the business for 20 years. He thinks he's badass and he's conceited, blah, 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 blah. Well, yeah, to an extent, depending on who you are, you know what I mean? And who I'm talking to. But in this case, I'm talking to everybody. And, I heard of William Esquivel. Now you see my face.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so this is who I am. This is what I represent. This is the reasons why I'm telling you this. So does it piss some people off sometimes? Yeah, it is. But guess what? I'm telling you the truth. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You can, I won't get offended. And honestly, I really don't give a shit, right? But you will never come back and tell me, hey, you're lying. No, I'm not.
Right.
It's just the reality of it. Now, if you can't accept, it's a whole different ballgame. But at least there's two sides of the story now, not just one. That's number one. Number two, I guess you can say as the face of my organization, people needed to see what my organization represented, which is myself. I'm not saying that every single thing that I've done is great and should or shouldn't have done it. You know what I mean? I make mistakes. I'm human, but at least I've grown, and I've grown enough to understand that and know when to say, "Hey, I screwed up. How can I fix it? How can I fix it?" While other people say, "I didn't do anything wrong." Yeah, you did. I've done it many times. Hey, man, I'll be upfront with you, and this happened probably in the last 3 years. Honestly, this shift where I was always right. Mm-hmm. And then I actually realized, nah, man, you're not. Again, and then
what was it that happened that made you realize that?
I grew up. I grew up I actually realized, what the hell am I doing? Hanging out with a lot of people that didn't give me, well, I assume that everybody was, and then again, I'm 47. This happened at 44, 45.
Yeah.
Okay. And I've always, and again, I've always been an extrovert. I really have, right? But I always thought, oh, everybody's going to like me.
Yeah.
They're hanging out with me. And so what? And no, it wasn't that. And it finally just hit me like, bullshit. Let me, XYZ person. Let me just test it.
Yeah.
Sure enough, man.
Wow.
And it hit me. And when it hit me like a storm. Boom. Like it was just one person, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like, okay, then you start thinking, well, what am I doing wrong? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What am I doing wrong? Well, let me turn it around, see what happens and everything else. And I think at that point, that's when I started prioritizing things differently. And that's what happened.
So when you say prioritizing things differently, what were you prioritizing now?
Before, I was always prioritizing how to make another person happy. Whether they meant something to me or not, I cared about how others thought about me. And so I would do everything that I could to make them happy at that moment or whatever it is. And without thinking about consequences. Because I prioritized that more importantly than anything else. Yeah. Now I actually step back. I'm like, wait, stop. What's important here? God, kids, family, work, so what? And so, yeah, I grew up is basically what it came down to. Now, sometimes I let go and everything else, like everybody else. But at least now I'm just like, And then once you start doing that, people just start falling off. Let the cards. My big thing when there's an issue, don't say anything. Let the cards drop. Wait 24 hours, see what happens. Sure enough, always happens. And so that's what I started doing.
Interesting.
To be honest with you, there was a lot of vices I had that I've calmed down on. Because it's just like, nah, it's not right anymore. You know what I mean? It's not right. Or don't have to go, I don't have to go to this bar again or whatever it is. Slow it down. And it's worked out. Yeah,
no, I found when I turned 40, I was like, fuck. My grandpa's 93 and he still works out. He moves around every day. And I was like, well, I'm 42 now. So if I am allowed to live as long as my grandfather, I don't have very much time left.
Yeah.
So I'm behind in life. Yeah. So I need to figure out, like, how the fuck am I going to get ahead as fast as I possibly can while still living a good life? So I adjusted the same as you. I adjusted my life to be able to prioritize certain things that are going to get me ahead. And a lot of people were like, well, you're being selfish. And I feel for me, it's like, if you're not selfish, you can't give back anything.
You can't give back anything.
Can you touch on that?
I'm gonna, you know what? Going back to you. I saw it because I follow you and everything else. Wait, este vato ya está flaco. Like something happened. Anyway,
I wasn't sick. I guarantee you.
Good for you, man. You look good. Anyway, you look good. Number one, you have to love and care for yourself first. Because if you don't love yourself truly, you can't love anybody else. Or you can try, but it's going to be fake. You have to be at peace with yourself. You have to understand and you have to accept that you're not perfect. You're not always going to be right. But hell, you know what? The day's ended and you're going to restart again tomorrow. And if you can do that and actually accept it and say, hey, and let go. And honestly, the one thing is let go of the past. Mm-hmm. And that's hard to do, man. Yeah. Letting go of the past, saying, yeah, okay, you know what? You're right. I'm messed up. I'm sorry. I can't go back and change it, but I can do this. Yeah. And some people's like, I don't care. You did that 10 years ago.
Some people live into their 80s and still do that, man. They hold something against somebody for so long. It's like, I cannot fathom a life like that.
It's like, it's like this. Like, I know, there's some people that done me wrong and everything else. You know what I mean? And it is what it is. And I see them, hey, man, how you doing? And I'm like, why are you shaking my hand? It is what it is, man. Yeah. Now, it's like I have a saying. It's like, shake your hand and everything else. Like, I want you to eat. I do, but just not at my table.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, what is the saying? The 5 people you surround yourself with, you become that person.
Yeah. That's another thing.
Yeah.
The people you hang out with. You know what I mean? And I was like, no, it's just, that doesn't mean anything. Oh, it does.
So touch on that then. Go a little deeper in that, because I don't think people really understand that if you're hanging out with 4 other people that are just going out and doing stupid stuff, making bad decisions, you become that person because you are in direct contact with that person. You do the same things.
Man, you know what? That's 100% right. And the way that I've learned, the way that I have started living is this: is if I'm the smartest person in that group, I'm in the wrong group. Mm-hmm. I really am. And so that's why a lot of my my friends, colleagues, or so what, that I thought were really good friends of mine, they're not. Now I'll still say, hey, what's going on, whatever it is. But when we were hanging out, I was it. Yeah, I'm like, no, I go, me? Hombre, wait, no. Yeah. So now there's a group of people that I do hang out with, and unfortunately they're out of the valley, but they make you better.
Yeah. So what would you say about mentors? I feel personally that there are not very many good mentors out there.
There's not that very good mentors out there, because some of those mentors that you think are mentors are wanting something back from you. And if you're a mentor, you shouldn't expect anything back. You know, you should expect at the minimum maybe respect, maybe, but anything else, I don't agree with that.
So how do people find mentors? How do they seek these mentors out? Because I'm sure that there's a lot of people, maybe realtors or anything like this, that are coming up and they want to find somebody they can attach themselves to. How do you find these people? And on the other coin, do these people even have time for them?
Yes and no. But first, as the person seeking, I think you need to humble yourself first in order to be mentored. Because if you're looking for a mentor and you think you know it all and you're trying to correct the mentor, you're going about it the wrong way. Because I'm going to say, I don't have time for you.
Yeah.
The newbies that I have in my organization, I tell them, I'm going to give you the same time that you put effort in, because you're not wasting my time. Or I can only meet with you at 3:00. Well, where were you at 9:00 at 10:00 when you're supposed to be at work?
Sleep.
I don't got time for you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Well, I didn't want to bother you. Well, that's your problem, not mine. Because I told you that if you want to learn it, I'll be here at 8:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
Or you know what? You know where my house is. You can find me in my house. If you're really looking for it, I'll be more. I have never turned a person away to learn, if that's what they truly want to do.
Why won't they take advantage of it?
They don't think it's important. We'll figure it out. Well, how are you going to figure it out if you can? You know what I mean? How are you going to figure it out? By looking at guidelines where we've done this. I've been doing this day in and day out for the last 23 years. Yeah. I can already tell you, whatever you think you're thinking about, we probably already did it. I'll tell you whether it works or not. No, I'm going to try it out. But you can try it out if you want to, but I'm going to give you the end result. It's up to you.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, in this business, when you make a mistake, it's probably going to cost you money. Mm-hmm. So what do you want to do? Take it from somebody that's 23 years old that probably spent more money in a day than you probably did in 6 months because I already done it, yeah. Or you're gonna experience it yourself. I rather do the first.
It's an interesting mind frame that somebody thinks through. Like they obviously I was the same too. I think I could figure it out, mm-hmm. But then I came to the realization, like when I started going to conventions and conferences, like these guys are condensing so much information into 3 days. It's valuable. I'd rather pay for it.
You know what? I'm still trying to accomplish that. Like that's one of my goals. Probably that is one of my goals in the next year is to do more conventions and everything else. You know what I mean? Number one, to get out of the valley. You know what I mean? Yeah. But to to be more open-minded about what other people are doing. It's like you said, it's valuable. It's valuable information. But I honestly, truly think that a lot of people don't think that's important, and it truly is. Yeah. That's the only way you're going to be better.
Yeah, I heard that America, the education system in America is a $2 trillion industry. So now all these other people that are giving digital courses and stuff like that, they're teaching this because they're tapping into that because the school system just isn't what it used to be. Yeah. So now you can learn specialized skills. So for example, like my buddy Albert Sloss down the street, crossed 7 figures last year, and he's giving all this information, but there's very few people that'll take it. There's very few. He sits right in front of me just spitting out all this business information.
Mind-boggling, right?
It's mind-boggling. Nobody's paying attention.
No.
I don't understand it.
It's crazy. Mira, the other problem that people have these days, and not only the younger generation, just people in general, is you have the mentality, or they have the mentality of, and I've heard it, and trust me, I've done it, right? Fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Fake it till you make it. Fake it till, but that's going to only take you so far. You know what I mean? The people that are successful, and the people that I have mentored that are still with me right now, the mentality they had was this: Will, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Help me. Versus, I got it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'll figure it out. And it doesn't work, man. Yeah. And that's number one. Number two, I respect those people more that say, well, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Teach me so you don't have to teach me again. All right, let's sit down. How much time do you have? Whatever time you want. Let's go.
Yeah.
But until they can get that mentality, then that's when they're going to change.
Interesting. What is the future of the Rio Grande Valley when it comes to the housing market?
Oh, dude, we're going to kill it.
Yeah?
For the first time that I've lived here, you know what I mean? I'm seeing different people coming in from out of state, you know what I mean?
What percentage would you say is coming in from out of state that are buying up the either land, property? What percentage do you see?
30.
Wow, that's significant.
It's a lot. 30. Wow. And finally, people down here, companies, schooling, they're starting not to be afraid to pay and pay people for their value versus before. Remember, because everybody has this stereotype of the valley. Still cheap down here. Yeah. It's not getting that cheap anymore, if you think about it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so, which is good, I think, because now you're paying people for value. People are paying for value in regards to what they're doing. So guess what? It's your life of, the cost of living is going to be more, but you should be getting paid more as well. Now, and again, that can be argumentative as well. Well, the value still gets paid this month. Well, again, I get it. I understand that. But what have you done as that person to better yourself?
Right.
Do you still want to keep on, and there's nothing wrong with it. Do you still want to get paid $10, $25 an hour, whatever it is, or you want to increase your $20, $25 an hour, but you have to educate yourself and you got to take these classes and training?
Yeah.
It goes back to you.
Yeah. Don't
blame society and don't blame the socioeconomical issues that the Rio Grande Valley has always had. I get all that. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure we're a product of it.
Yeah.
I'm a single mom, divorced, two brothers, living in a 2-bedroom apartment. Mom couldn't make ends meet. We're latchkey kids or whatever it is. We figured it out.
Yeah.
So don't blame socioeconomical bullshit on me that I can't do it because the valley doesn't pay whatever it is. No, it comes back on you on what you are doing to change that.
Right.
Big difference.
Yeah, and if you really think about it too, like for example, I was explaining to somebody that this past weekend I took my daughter to a dance recital in San Antonio, and they charged me $25 for parking because I was 5 minutes over. So I was explaining to somebody, like, if you have a $7.25 per hour job, that's 3 hours that you have to work at that job to pay that $25 bill.
Yeah,
I don't think people really put that into perspective.
No. Well, that's number one. The other thing that people don't put into perspective is the value of time. They don't get it. Like, and that's another thing during my little change that I had or whatever it is. Like, if I'm going to go spend an hour of my time over there, right, it's going to be worth, I don't know, $250, $300 an hour for me. Is it really worth me going over there?
Right.
Nah. Or do that, or spend time, or jack around, but spend time with my kids, rather with my kids.
Yeah.
At that point, people don't understand the value of time, and that once you understand that, then you see life a little bit different. Because, like you said, life is short.
Yeah.
It's another thing, like you say, your grandfather's 93 years old. We're 43. We got 40 more years, buddy. We're not that far. That's it.
And I would go as far as to say is like after 65, you're probably no longer a threat to society. I would say, unless you have a ton of money that you can influence things. But after that, it's like you're 65. Now you need to figure out how just to live till 93.
We got 13. I'm like me personally. Like I said, I'm 47. I got 13 years. Yeah. Because by the time I'm 60, I'm done. Yeah, that's my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting thing, but it's funny because my dad was like, well, he owns Dairy Queen and Mercedes. He's like, I'm gonna die making combs. And I was like, well, I probably will too. Like I'll go out working until I can't no longer work anymore. Sure, so yeah, it's an interesting thing, like the lifelong learning. Like I feel like I'm always going to be doing something. Maybe I'm not going to be doing what I'm doing now in the next 5 years, right? But it's always going to be something. I'm always getting skills, figuring out what's next in the market.
I think you called it where you said I'm behind. Mm-hmm. I am too, but that's the mentality that we have. I'm behind. Let me see what's going. What I need to do is speed the shit up so I'm catching up. Yeah. It's weird, but that's my mentality. I'm still behind.
Same here. I wake up every day. It's like, fuck, man. Somebody else is doing something I want to be doing. Yeah. And the great thing about that too is you can find those people that will teach you exactly how to do what they're doing. It's a very interesting thing, the world that we live in, especially with like technology. Like I can jump on a Zoom call and learn from this person. Yeah. And they'll for like $600-700, $1,000, they'll teach me all their knowledge that they've acquired over the past 10 years.
Yeah, I get it.
It's a very interesting thing where the future is going and the connectivity. But what are you investing in right now? What does the investment horizon look like for investing in the Valley? What are you investing in, and what do you see for the future?
So what I'm doing right now is I'm doing a lot of flipping. You still have those properties that you can still make a margin, 20-25% on there. And I've flipped probably in the past year, maybe five homes.
Oh, wow. Nice.
And did really well. Thank you, Juan de la Garza, for helping me out on that. But what you call it, I see others doing that. You know what I mean? I've done that. I've done some other financial ventures where we're doing hard money now for those people that can't get traditional financing. They're investors. We're putting in our own money to lend them, short-term loans. Mm-hmm. That's helping. That's working out as well, because again, right now, a lot of the financial institutions are basically cutting off people just because of the volatility of the market. So that's what we're basically giving them a Band-Aid loan, and then they get paid off later on, or to that extent.
So how does that work? So if I wanted to borrow some money from you to throw it into Bitcoin, how long do I have to? How long do I got to pay you back?
So basically, we do have a product where it's a short-term loan. It's a 12-month note. Okay, interest only. Okay, it cannot be a primary residence. It has to be an investment property, either commercial or residential. Land, depending on the land, you know what I mean? But commercial and residential properties, we're lending at 13%. Okay, we're lending at 13% at interest only, so the payment can be lower. And let's call it a no prepayment penalty, so you can pay it off whenever you want. And that's basically about it. So basically what happens is, say, for example, you have a customer, right? You have a client that found this awesome house at $120,000, all right? Needs some work in it and everything else. It's worth $220,000. Mm-hmm. So he's going to flip it, right? Well, he's going to come to me and say, you know what? I don't care what the rate is, because I'm going to keep it for 3-4 months, and then I'm going to sell it. So all the money that I'm giving you, I'm going to make it up over here. It's worth it. There you go.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. Wow.
There's actually more of a demand for those type of loans than what people think.
Interesting. Yeah. And that's just because the banks aren't lending money.
Either that or banks will say, "Hey, I can do it all day long, but it's going to take me 3 months to do it." Well, you know what? They were giving me 30 days to close this house or this property. Now. I need it now. Well, refinance it later, all day long.
Interesting.
And they have the down payment, they have the equity, they have it all. But again, they can't wait. Well, that's where I come in.
We'll finish out the podcast. What are the percentages of houses that people can afford? Let's just say $200,000 houses versus $500,000 houses versus $1 million houses.
Let me put it this way. The soft spot right now, and this goes out to all my developer friends, all my builder friends, and everything else. You want to right now, in my personal opinion, is you got to put inventory on the ground, and you got to turn them and burn them, because there's a need for it. Because there's nowhere where people can live right now according to affordability. Mm-hmm. The soft spot right now is no more than $250,000.
Okay. So you're saying for a builder to create a bunch of different properties everywhere and just sell them.
250 and less. You find a builder right now, you find a developer right now that can do that, and that's on the works, whatever it is. But less than 250, you're not gonna have problems getting financed.
What's the average price of a house right now?
Right now, the average price in the Rio Grande Valley is 210.
Okay.
210.
Okay.
So
that's a soft spot.
That's a soft spot,
250
buddy.
down. Interesting.
Anything above, I have a friend of mine that quit his job. So I'm gonna do a couple of specs above 500,000. Go, you're full of shit. No, but this was again a year ago. Mm-hmm. He's still sitting on the 2 houses.
Wow. Eesh. Scary.
Very scary.
Shit. Well, I appreciate all the insight, man. Let everybody know where they can find you.
Man, I appreciate you inviting me. My name is, like I said before, you can find us at 4757 South Jackson in Edinburgh, right in front of Bentley Subdivision, Gold Financial Services. Again, William Esquivel. If you want to talk to me, I'm going to tell you straight up the truth, and that's it, man. It is what it is. But thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Awesome. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Peace. Thank you.